There you have it. It's definitely sparkalicious. This project really does build community, and that's what's kept me going. Seeing all the people come together for 27 years, it's really just been amazing. But this symbol comes from one of the darkest chapters in human history. There are so many different colored symbols in the gay community. Of course, Gilbert Baker's rainbow flag, but this symbol here was forged out of tragedy, and we must remember that. And part of appreciating and celebrating any Pride weekend is knowing where we've been. And there you go. So we brand ourselves with the pink triangles like everyone else had to wear, and Tom Horn of the Bob Ross Foundation provided us with these pink triangles. So we wear them out of camaraderie for those who were forced to wear them in the concentration camps. So thank you, Tom, for these. So I would like to thank the Illuminate team that's making this spectacular thing happen. Ben Davis, CEO of Illuminate, will be speaking shortly. Patricia Sulfita Wilson started the Pink Torch Procession, and we're so excited. We met with the mayor of Oakland this morning. So it's 50 torchbearers are making this way across the bay. And it'll be up here with the Dykes on Bikes shortly. David Hatfield, who has worked tirelessly to raise funds for this project. And thank you to all of the supporters who have helped with this, including Robin Abad, Director of San Francisco Shared Spaces. He's also the Pink Triangle Volunteer Coordinator and an Illuminate board member. Ollie Newth, a Burning Man, he's the organizer from Burning Man's Velvet Cabal, who helped with so much coordination in the pink sparkle jacket. Raise your hand, Ollie. Joshua Keel did so much, but he couldn't be here tonight. But James Ward is here. Raise your hand, James Ward. Thank you for everything. Deborah Walker of the San Francisco Arts Commission. Supervisor Mandelman for your help over the years, and Scott Weiner helping raise funds as well. Thank you for that. And Katie Hickox for the website. Our fiscal sponsor, San Francisco Pride, the Bob Ross Foundation, and Tom Horn, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, Hodgkins Jewelers, Brian Gerritsen and Bob Mendes. There you are. Thank you for all of your help. And I Gotcha Opmetrics and owner Greg Higuchi. And a big thank you to the band, again. And of course my two sisters, which this wouldn't be possible, yes, and Mike Wong of the band, the director. Thank you. So to give the history of the Pink Triangle, we always start off by reminding people where we've been and why we're here, and setting the focus for not only this ceremony, for all of Pride Weekend. We've got to know where we started. So we're going to do that in two parts this year. We're going to have Amy Schneider, as well as the Consul General of Ukraine, help set the tone of why we're here tonight and why it's so important. So it's such a thrill to have Amy Schneider here, 40-time Jeopardy champion. With increasing LGBTQ legislation sweeping the country and increasing discrimination and violence directly at transgender persons, it feels like poetic justice that the smartest person in the room turns out to be a transgender woman who won over the American audience with her wit, confidence, grace, and humor, and we are so very proud of you. Please welcome Amy Schneider.
Thank you. This is the history of the Pink Triangle. The Pink Triangle was used by the Nazis in concentration camps to identify and persecute homosexuals. This symbol, which was used to label and stigmatize, has since been embraced by the gay community as a symbol of pride and as a tribute to those who face prosecution. However, in the 1930s and 40s, there was nothing to celebrate concerning the Pink Triangle. Gay men were forced to wear the pink triangle on their pockets in the concentration camps to identify them as homosexual, to set them apart from other prisoners. Triangles of various colors were used to identify each category of undesirable: yellow for Jews, brown for gypsies, red for political prisoners, green for criminals, black for antisocial elements, which included lesbians and trans men, purple for Jehovah's Witnesses, blue for immigrants, and pink for gay men and transgender women. The pink triangles were slightly larger than the other colored triangles, so that guards could identify them at a distance. It is said that those who wore the pink triangles were singled out by the guards to receive especially harsh treatment, and when the guards were finished with them, some of the other inmates would harm them as well. Homosexual prisoners were also a preferred target of Nazi human experimentation during the last years of Nazi rule. At the end of the war, when the concentration camps were finally liberated, virtually all of the prisoners were released, except those who wore the pink triangle. Many of those with a pink triangle on their pocket were put back in prison, and their nightmare continued. It's estimated that the Nazis imprisoned more than 50,000 gay men, with an estimated 5,000 to 15,000 of those men then sent to concentration camps. It is this same kind of senseless, irrational hatred that still haunts minority communities today, whether gay, Jewish, black, Asian, transgender, or many others. There are approximately 70 nations where homosexuality is currently criminalized. Several of those impose the death penalty. And, astonishingly, some places have considered labeling LGBTQ people, just as the Nazis required their undesirables to wear identifying logos so long ago. And here in America, trans children are being publicly stigmatized by their state governments for participating in athletics or simply for using the bathroom. They're being denied life-saving medical care in Texas, Arkansas, and Alabama, and in Texas they are being ripped from their families by officers of the state. The targets of hatred may change, but the power of that hatred and the results when it is left unchecked remain the same. History repeats. That is why the Twin Peaks display is so important. We must remind people of the hatred and prejudice of the past to help educate others and prevent it from happening again. What happened in the Holocaust must not be forgotten and must not be repeated. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, so cold. So part of the history portion of our ceremony is to point out active discrimination and persecution today. There are reports of Russian hit lists for gays as part of Russia's plans for Ukraine. The attendees would like to hear the true situation facing LGBTQs living within Russian-held areas of Ukraine. Please welcome the Ukrainian Consul General, Dmitry Kushnaruk. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Patrick, for providing me the opportunity to speak at this event today, at this difficult time for my country. And as was said, that we remember the hatred and persecution of the past, which led to the creation, actually, of Pink Triangle in the Nazi concentration camps. But the real Nazis of the 21st century today are Putin and his Russian army. And the full-scale military invasion that Putin thought would take days is actually already happening for 4 months. And Ukrainian people heroically resist the enemy, several times bigger, larger army than ours. And Ukrainian gays are also on the front lines. They're in the Ukrainian army fighting together with the others. And at the beginning of this war, we all thought that just how to survive. But right now, we think about how to win. It's thanks to our partners and thanks to the help from the United States, first of all. And I would like to thank Speaker Pelosi for her help in leading the Congress. And as the war goes on, we think, and we should think, not about everyone who is suffering. And Ukrainian civilians, LGBT community are one of such victims. Unfortunately, despite the strong Ukrainian resistance, Russian forces managed to capture some parts of Ukrainian territory. And even though a large number of Ukrainians have left those territories, actually a significant number of people still stay there and still have their homes there. And in such regions as Kherson, part of Kharkiv region, part of the Zaporizhia region, Mariupol, and some other regions like Lugansk, Donetsk, and Crimea have been under Russian occupation since 2014. And we have some examples of history which we can share with you. So in such areas as DNR, LNR, they have been occupied for a long time, and there are absolutely not a single LGBT organization left in those areas. All gay clubs have been vandalized and destroyed. And in Donetsk, the Arts Center, which was used by LGBT, was captured, and then they established the prison in that same building. Can you believe it? Elena Shevchenko, who was director of one of the NGOs inside, which supports the gay rights, says that immediately after Russian world came into Donbass, her organization started getting the messages informing of tortures, kidnapping, and beating of gays there. And there are those who managed to escape. They tell the horrible stories about systematic discrimination, blackmailing, and chasing. And there are cases when Russian gangs, supported by military, they broke into the apartments where the gay lived in the middle of the night, or they would set ambush near their houses waiting for them, and people just could not return to their homes and they had to flee. And Russian Orthodox Patriarch Kirill, unsurprisingly, endorsed Putin war in Ukraine, and he blamed Ukraine to be one of the countries which supports the gay parades. And that basically for him is enough reason to start a war. And in Russian-occupied Crimea, Russians adopted the legislation prohibiting person to be openly gay because they call it gay propaganda. And there is example of Alexander, who was born in Kiev, and he was gay, and he came to Crimea, and he was captured by Russian police. They tortured him, raped him, and forced him to sign the property title to them, to give it for free, in order for him to be released. So these examples demonstrate that the longer Russia is allowed to occupy the territories of Ukraine, the bigger danger exists for civilians, and particularly for LGBT community. Because in Russia, there is zero tolerance to that, as you know. And during the war, Russian soldiers, they kill civilians and children and women just for being Ukrainians. And examples of this, many of them, in Bucha, in Irpin, in small towns around Kiev. And if you are Ukrainian and you are gay, that makes you definitely a high priority target for them. Because every Russian soldier during the war, if he has a gun, he considers himself the master of this situation. He can do whatever he wants. That's why we need to liberate our territories as soon as possible, to stop Putin, so that Putin will understand that he will not get anything else from this war except for shame and isolation. And to stop it so that these terrible examples will not happen in future. So I would like to thank San Francisco for standing with Ukraine. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Consul General. Isn't it wonderful that our local congressperson is Speaker of the House? But let's not forget, when she arrived in Washington, D.C., she said, "I'm Nancy Pelosi, and I'm here to fight AIDS." She did that. And she continues to be our greatest champion 35 years later. In fact, tomorrow, it's been 35 years to the day since you were elected to Congress on June 2nd. She remains one of the greatest friends and fighters for the LGBT community. So she is, of course, here with Mayor London Breed, another great ally of ours, to kick off Pride Month. It's a great honor, a true honor, to introduce the Speaker of the House, our own Congressperson, Nancy Pelosi. Speaker. Thank you. So good to see you. Thank you.
I'm sorry I arrived a little late, but I listened to it all on my phone and very inspired by all of you, and very grateful to Patrick and Ben for continuing this wonderful tradition which they started with Michael Brown about 25 years ago. And here we are. Let's thank them. Aren't they wonderful? We're so proud of them. Thank you both. Thank you so much. This is an honor to be here with all of you and to be able to illuminate the Pink Triangle with our distinguished Mayor Breed. We've done this together before. Now, this is the third time we've illuminated, yes, but we've been here other times on the side of the hill. I just was so moved by hearing the Consul General's remarks here and remembering just our recent visit to Kyiv about a month ago, and to see what he talked about was what was firsthand there. If you were gay, you were going to be a target, that's for sure. And what we also saw was what you referenced, the rape of little girls, 11 years old, repeatedly, and their moms in front of their grandmothers and the rest of that brutality. So there's no way that you could ever think that what the Consul General was saying was the worst of it. It's just a brutality that makes you wonder when you think back to the Pink Triangle. And Amy, I heard your beautiful giving of the history of it all, which we sadly know, but again, to be constantly reminded that we won't forget that man's inhumanity to man, person's inhumanity to another person, is inconceivable to us in our lives, but in terms of the brutality of the Russians there, just so similar to what happened during the Holocaust. I told you on other occasions that I had the privilege of visiting Auschwitz at the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz, and you can see right there the evidence of what they were doing to people who were gay, who were Jewish, whatever objection they had for it, as Amy talked about, different colors for different targets that they have. So here we are, weathering the beautiful briskness of our naturally air-conditioned city, in which we take gay pride. Oh, much better than last year. I think one of you gave me your blanket off your bed at home because it was so cold and wet. But in any event, so important. And a couple more points that I wanted to make. Well, again, it's cold and we want to hear from others, and we're going to light up this thing. But I want to just talk about Amy for a moment. Amy, I'm a fan of Jeopardy, and I'm a fan of yours. And I would see Amy, and I was just so proud of her, and she just making everybody feel so proud of her in every way. And by the way, making more money than any woman has ever made on a show. But one of the things that she said, I just want to prove, Amy. One of the things she said is they are asking her about being on Jeopardy, and she said, I always wanted to be on Jeopardy, but I wasn't on. But it's a good thing I got on later, because by then I had met my to-be fiancé, and she was an expert on what sitcoms? Youth culture in general, and that helped get her through some of the categories that she might not have gotten through to be such a great champion. But it was so wonderful to see her take pride in her relationship, and people taking pride in her taking pride in that regard. We're very proud of you, Amy, and it's so wonderful to be with you here. I didn't realize you live in Oakland. Oh my goodness, a neighbor. But here we are. And we have a threat right now in our own country. I mean, the Consul General talked about what's happening and what's happening in so many other countries in the world that we know, where it's considered a criminal act to be just because of who you love. But we have a problem in our own country. This draft document that was put forth about the Roe v. Wade is a threat to freedom in so many ways. It undermines the principle of privacy in the Constitution of the United States, which is fundamental to certain of our freedoms and rights, and it also undermines the practice of precedent, which is, of course, something that they all said they supported, precedent. But now we have marriage equality, we have Roe v. Wade, we have so many interracial marriage, with so many things that are so expansive of our recognition of personal freedom. And the court has never expanded freedom and then contracted it until they might now. So this is a big threat. Again, precedent and privacy, marriage equality, and the rest. And I was in the court the day they argued the arguments of marriage equality, and it was really curious to see the Chief Justice say, well, it used to be that this was considered not as popular, but now people are falling all over each other to support gay marriage. Words to that effect. Almost exactly that. And here, that could be threatened. And we cannot let that happen. We cannot let that happen. So again, the court has to pay respect to the rule of law and the popular will in our country. And thanks to the work of so many of you, the outside mobilization for LGBT rights, LGBTQ rights throughout our country is hopefully going to be one of the strengths that says to the court, you can't go to this place. Let's hope that that is the case. Not to make this a political event, but elections have consequences. Elections have consequences, and if we can just pick up a couple more Democratic senators to wipe back the filibuster, then we can again enshrine into the law a woman's right to choose, enshrine marriage equality into the law, so that we don't have a fear of again diminishing freedom in our country. Our history has always been to expand freedom. The courts have played a role in that, and now they may roll it back. But I have hope because of all of you. I have hope because of the fight against HIV/AIDS, which I think facilitated the marriage equality successes that we've had, because people got to know people in their community, got to love people in their families, got to know better what our responsibilities are to each other. So I always think that the way the LGBTQ community fought HIV/AIDS was part of the success of that we achieved later, whether it was hate crimes, overturning Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and of course, a marriage equality. So I say this all the time, when people say to me in Congress, Amy, they say, it's easy for you because you're from San Francisco and people there are so tolerant. And I say, the word tolerant to me is condescending. This is not about about tolerance. This is about respect. This is about taking pride. And that's just what we're doing in this month of June, taking pride. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful to see you. And I have a blanket for you.
Thank you.
Where is it? Oh, what happened to the blanket? Such an honor to have you here, Madam Speaker. It's a great honor to have Mayor Breed here today, and notice City Hall's dome. Pink! The last 2 years you couldn't see City Hall's dome. Tonight it's spectacularly clear, a little chilly, but it's not moist. And anyway, thank you to Martha Cohen for that. So it's great to have you here, Mayor Breed, and Ben would love to give you a wonderful introduction.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ben Davis with Illuminate. Hi, how you doing? Wow, you know what feels really good? It feels great to be high in the center of San Francisco on a windswept night, surrounded by the city I love, with people I know who love the city just as much as I do. Thank you all for being here. Illuminate is really dedicated to San Francisco. The mission of the organization is we rally large groups of people together to create impossible works of public art that through awe free humanity's better nature, awe, A-W-E. And when the Bay Lights, which is our flagship project, was sort of wildly successful, and I upended my life and shut down a 20-year company that I had, took a pay cut, and took on the job I'm uniquely unqualified to do, which is to run an arts nonprofit in San Francisco. I wasn't aware that offers would come in from around the world to work in sort of exotic places with lucrative places, Dubai and the tallest residential tower in Chicago and the old historic bridge in Montreal or some obscene mall in Singapore. And And I was tempted for just a brief moment, but the truth is I didn't upend my life to go someplace else. I upended my life to stay here. And so we say no to every project outside of San Francisco. And all we do is think about this city all day long and how we can work with all of you to make a difference. And we are making a difference. We have the Pink Triangle here tonight. We'll light in a few minutes. We have the Bay Lights. We have Grace Light at Grace Cathedral. There's the illumination of the Conservatory of Flowers in Golden Gate Park. There's Monumental Reckoning, working with the artist Dana King, surrounding the old Francis Scott Key plinth. There is Hope Will Never Be Silent at the entryway to the Castro. There's the revival of the old Spreckles Temple of Music that now has the words Lift Every Voice on the roof of it. We're hosting 125 live free concerts in Golden Gate Park this year as part of the Lift Every Voice series. And all of that's being done with just 2 people, 2 full-time staff. That's amazing, and the only reason it's possible, thank you, is because of your incredible generosity and desire to see this city be the brilliant city that it can be, and we know it will be. And I'm just going to plug one thing that's coming up. On June 17th and 18th, working with the Fillmore Jazz Ambassadors, we're going to be hosting the first annual Jazz-teenth in Golden Gate Park's Music Concourse at the Golden Gate Band Shell. And our premier performer will be Victor Wooten, so please do come on out to that event. Really amazing. Now, it is my honor to introduce our mayor. You know, Mayor Breed has taken our city through some dark times, really, truly, profoundly, unpredictably dark times. And the only way to really do that is to lead us to the light. And through art and many other things that you do. Thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you for being here tonight. Mayor Breed.
Well, first of all, let me just thank Patrick for his over 25 years of this extraordinary vision that brings light to the city. And thank you, Ben, for your work with Illuminate, which not only is lighting up the Pink Triangle tonight, but keeps our city illuminated in the darkness. It means a lot to have extraordinary San Franciscans like Patrick and Ben. And I also want to recognize an extraordinary San Franciscan in Tom Horn, who instead of getting us T-shirts next year, will get us hoodies. Thank you, Tom Horn. And maybe even a heated tent. Who knows? Madam Speaker, it is always an honor to be here with you, and your leadership, your fearless, courageous leadership gives us all hope. It's why we are able to fight here in San Francisco. People say to me, I can't imagine what you go through, Mayor. I can't imagine what our Speaker of the House goes through. And she continues to not only fight for this country, she fights for this city, and we are so honored to have you here tonight with us on this beautiful, brisk San Francisco evening, along with our other San Francisco officials and the Pride Board. Thank you, Suzanne and Carolyn Weisinger, for being here with us tonight, and so many wonderful people to celebrate what we know tried to take away our happiness and has been used as a symbol of hope. And we still, sadly, as the Council General talked about, still see many of these horrible injustices take place all over the world. And so we stand proud with you, and we are so grateful to have you here tonight to share with us the challenges that exist. In places like Texas, where they try to attack trans kids, here in San Francisco, we try to end trans homelessness. We try to provide resources for universal income for the trans community, first in the country. When they say in Florida, don't say gay, we light up the city and say gay all day. Gay to the gay, gay, gay. Hey! And let me tell you, this is why I love this city so much. Because of the pride that we take in who we are and what we represent, despite our differences. We do things uniquely San Francisco. We create wonderful situations out of hardship with a smile on our faces and knowing that as the phoenix we are, we will rise to live another day. And something else uniquely San Francisco, since Ben is doing plugs, that I got to do a plug because I see Sister Roma and Donna Sachet, who can appreciate this. It's not public yet, but why not? We're going to be announcing this week the first ever drag laureate for San Francisco. We're going to be announcing the application process, and Deborah Walker knows this well. I believe in paying our performers and our artists, and there will be a stipend of $35,000. Oh, shoot. $35,000 a year attached. So doing wonderful things during Pride to just remind us how special we are. Oh, hopefully our members of the board will approve that in my budget. Thank you, Supervisor Dorsey and Supervisor Mandelman. Doing wonderful things in San Francisco is what makes it so special. All of you, and the fact that you're out here in really the most challenging of San Francisco conditions to celebrate is so meaningful. So on behalf of the City and County of San Francisco, not only is City Hall lit up in pink, and I promise one day Ben is going to figure out how to change the colors of the bridge too, so that we can get that lit up in pink, but tonight as we light up this triangle and people see it from places all over and wonder what it is, it's going to show our pride. It's going to represent our pride for the month of June and represent who we are. And so on behalf of the City and County of San Francisco, I officially declare today, June 1st, as Pink Triangle Day in the City and County of San Francisco. Let there be hope and let there be light. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Mayor Breed. That was terrific. So we are so lucky to have a city attorney who works tirelessly as both a supervisor, an assembly person, and now as the city attorney to make sure we have equality in San Francisco. Please welcome San Francisco City Attorney David Chu.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this warm and balmy night in our city. First of all, how do you follow our good mayor? Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Speaker Pelosi. Thank you, all of us who are here on this night. I'm going to be extremely brief and say really two things. First of all, I wore a T-shirt this night. This is the T-shirt of warmer days. And I think we were all thinking about whether it's better to celebrate Pink Triangle in the raucous warmth of day or in the darkness of night. And I have to say tonight, I think we all know we are going through dark times. It's important for us to commune together during these times because there is darkness over our LGBTQ brothers and sisters in Russia and Ukraine. There is darkness if you are a family member who lost someone in Uvalde, Texas, or Buffalo, New York, or in the Pulse nightclub. There is darkness if you are a teacher who said gay and has just been fired. There is darkness if you are a parent in Texas trying to get your kid gender-affirming care and are about to be prosecuted. But the point of tonight is that in the dark, when this lights up, the light shoots out to the rest of the world. We are a beacon from our city. We are a beacon of hope. And as Harvey Milk ordered us to do, it is our job as San Franciscans to give him hope. So I just want to say happy Pride and happy Pink Triangle, and stay warm, everyone.
San Francisco Pride has been a Pink Triangle supporter and fiscal sponsor since 1998. Here to introduce the San Francisco Pride Board, Pride staff, and Grand Marshals and honorees in attendance here tonight, and to bring them up to acknowledge them, please welcome a true San Francisco legend and community treasure, Donna Sachet.
I'm going to be real brief. Come on up here. Carolyn Weisinger, the president of the Pride Board. Come on up, Caroline Weisinger. And come up here, interim executive director, Suzanne Ford. Now, we want to push that button, so would you look around there and hear the Grand Marshals? I didn't see who all was here, so...
We know who's here.
You know who's here. Okay, so let them know, just tell us their name, and they'll be acknowledged.
Okay, so we have DJ Black. DJ Black, where are you? DJ Black is around here somewhere. DJ Black, make some noise for DJ Black. Yep. Vinny Ing is around here somewhere. Vinny Ing. Woo, Vinny Ing. Do we have any other? Our board members that are here, we have my babies, Janelle Luster, who is here.
Spring
Collins, who is here. And our staff, we have
Chris Grafton,
and Xavier. Thank you, Suzanne. And if I can just take a moment of personal privilege, I want to thank Patrick, because I remember in 2020 when Mayor Breed put us on lockdown. And we didn't know what we were going to do for a Pride celebration, but Patrick called us and told us that we were going to light the Pink Triangle, and he has kept the Pride spirit lit up for 3 years. So I want to take this time to thank you, Patrick, for no matter what, you were always here to teach us about the history of the Pink Triangle and make sure our spirits was high. So thank you, Patrick. Yay.
Suzanne, anything?
Suzanne.
No. Well, happy Pride. We'll see you out on Market.
Here. One last thing, Roma, if you'll nominate me, I'll nominate you.
We are so lucky to have our very dedicated Senator Scott Wiener.
For the tall person. So first of all, I just want to say, Madam Speaker, thank you for attending this every year. You have truly the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you are trying to save our democracy, and you make time for this community, and we are all so deeply appreciative. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. And Patrick and Ben, thank you for making this a reality. I remember when the Bay Lights went up and how amazing it was, and it just makes me so proud that this is now here. So when I was a Jewish closeted teen in New Jersey in the 1980s, I remember my father saying to me, Scott, as good as things may seem for us, just always remember that it can change in a heartbeat. And he was, of course, referring to the Holocaust. Our family had gotten out before the war, and he always tried to remind me, never assume things are going to stay good. And when I acknowledged myself that I was gay in 1987, the year that the Speaker was first sent to Congress, it was a dark time for our community. That was the height of the HIV/AIDS pandemic. We had a president of the United States who wouldn't even acknowledge our existence and was trying to undermine us and harm us, and it was scary. And things started to get better, and we had some ups and downs, but it seemed like things were heading just in a consistently positive direction. And then in the last 4 or 5 years, it's like the Pandora's box opened up, and it all flew out. The anti-Semitism, the xenophobia, the racism, everything that we thought we had been sort of putting in that box and burying in the backyard, it all came out. And when when the Consul General talks about in Crimea, talking about gay propaganda, that's what Don't Say Gay is about. It's actually not that different. And so when we look at what's happening in the country today, it is really scary. And it's so easy for all of us to curl up in a ball. But when you look back at what the brave people during World War II, Jews and others who fought back against the Nazis, or what people like Phyllis Lyon and Del Martin did all those years in our country, in San Francisco, or what this community did after Harvey Milk was assassinated. We didn't curl up into a ball. We pushed back and we fought back, and we're going to fight back this time, and that's what Pride is about. And I know that in the end, we're going to win. So I'm so proud of this community, and happy Pride, everyone.
Please welcome Supervisor Raphael Mandelman.
Oh my God, it's so cold. Who loves Nancy Pelosi? Okay. I will be brief because there's a giant pink triangle behind me that needs to get lit up. But I want to say just a couple things. One is, up until a couple of weeks ago, I was saying that I was the only queer supervisor on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, and actually the only queer supervisor in the Bay Area. Well, Madam Mayor, you screwed that up for me because you appointed a great gay man, HIV positive, in recovery, and just an amazing human being, Matt Dorsey, who I'm so excited has taken away my ability to make that claim. And I do want to say, Madam Mayor, to you on this Pride, a giant thank you on behalf of the queer community for all of the ways in which you have invested in us and our community. From the institutions that you've invested in, LGBT History Museum, LGBT senior housing, to an unprecedented investment in ending trans homelessness in 5 years, which we are going to do, to getting to zero. If you look at all the budget investments from this mayor, I cannot imagine anyone could be more committed to this community. So super grateful for you. And of course, super grateful for these two extraordinary people next to me. And so I bring more of these for you, more wallpaper for your bathrooms. Ben Davis and Illuminate. Thank you. And Patrick Carney and the Friends. You guys are so great, and we are so grateful, and you gave us hope in the darkest days of the pandemic. And in these dark times, as everyone is saying, this giant pink triangle is a great, great symbol for us, for our future, for our city, and for the world. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, I think Supervisor Mandelman gave a great introduction to our newest supervisor, Matt Dorsey.
I'm so grateful to be here to cuddle with our city attorney, David Chu. I'm going to be really brief, but I just want to say how proud I am, sort of echo how proud I am of this city and how it's celebrating, and how proud I am of this community. Madam Speaker, Mayor, Patrick, Ben, just everybody, it means the world to me to have this opportunity to be the other gay supervisor, to serve my city, and yes, I'm going to support that $35,000 for our drag queen laureate, and all the other things. Thank you so much. Happy Pride, everybody.
Okay, the Dykes on Bikes are here, but they're going to hold for 1 second because the San Francisco Lesbian Gay Freedom Band and Leanne Borghese have been practicing all day on San Francisco. So let's hear it. And they are spectacular. We love them. The official band and Leanne.
Thank you.
Come up here, Leanne.
It only takes a tiny corner of this great big world to make the place we love my home upon the hill. I find I love you still. I've been away, but now I'm back to tell you. San Francisco, open your golden gate. You let no stranger wait outside your door. San Francisco, here is your wandering one saying I'll wander no more. Other places only make me love you best. Tell me you're the heart of all the Golden West. San Francisco. Welcome me home again. I'm coming home to go rob me no more. The band, give them a round of applause. Sing along with me. Other places only make me love you best. Tell me you're the heart of all the Golden West. San Francisco, welcome me home again. I'm coming home to go roaming no more. No more. Yeah. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Leanne Borghese and the San Francisco Lesbian Gay Freedom Band. Woo! And I see Kate Brown there, the president of the San Francisco Dykes on Bikes. And she's going to present the torch to the Speaker of the House. We have one more torch. Where is it?
They kept it down there.
Oh.
They said it's one.
Oh. All right.
I'll do it together.
Yes.
Looks like a lipstick.
So what we're going to do is have a countdown. So if the speaker and the mayor could come to the button, we're all going to count down together.
I left my heart in San Francisco, high on a hill. It calls to me to be where little cable cars climb halfway to the stars. The morning fog may chill the air. I don't care, my love waits there in San Francisco, above the blue and windy sea. When I come home to you, San Francisco, your golden sun will shine